Hey guys, we just did the box opening with Shayla, and I'm on day 2. I didn't wash today, but we are gonna put some of the hair thinning defense in.
That was Christopher Millwater on his Facebook page days before he was murdered at a marina on Long Island. Now his ex is accused of murdering him. I go through the stunning case and the social media posts that will likely play a big role in the case. I'm Anjanette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. Morgan & Morgan wins a lot. That's why they're one of America's largest personal injury law firms. The firm has more than 1,000 lawyers who have recovered $25 billion from more than 500,000 clients. In the last few months alone, a client in Florida got $12 million when the insurance company offered just $350,000. In PA, another client was awarded $26 million. That's 40 times the insurer's offer. Morgan & Morgan makes it really easy to fight for what you deserve. You can even start a claim from your phone. So if you are ever injured, you can start a claim at forthepeople.com/crimefix. Click the link below or scan that QR code that you see right there on your screen. Casey Corso is accused of teaming up with her boyfriend to murder her ex-boyfriend, Christopher Millwater. The case is out of Suffolk County, Long Island, just outside of New York City. Christopher Millwater was murdered in Stony Brook early in the morning on November 10th. Casey Corso is now charged with second-degree murder in Christopher Millwater's death, and prosecutors say her current boyfriend is her co-conspirator. His name is Victor Painbianco. Corso and Millwater had been a couple at some point, but that relationship appears to have ended in the summer. When exactly, we don't know for sure. But over the summer, Casey Corso, she posted many things on her Facebook page about Christopher Millwater. There was one post on July 15th where Corso talked about relationships and how they can end. Corso wrote, "The monster you saw at the end of the relationship, that's who he was. Not the sweet words he said in the beginning, not the charm, the affection, or the promises that kept you hooked. The version of him you met when things stopped going his way, when you stopped tolerating the disrespect, when you finally started choosing yourself, that version was the truth. Because love doesn't vanish overnight, real love doesn't turn cruel, cold, or careless when questioned or challenged. But manipulation does, ego does, control does. A man who only treats you well when you're quiet, obedient, and putting up with his behavior isn't loving you. He's using your silence as comfort and your loyalty as a cushion. And when that loyalty runs out, when the lies stop working and the mask slips, the rage, the gaslighting, the emotional withdrawal, and the cruelty are not a bad moment. That's who he's always been underneath the surface. You were just too in love, too hopeful, too forgiving to see it. And that's not your shame to carry. It's your strength because now you do see it. The way he spoke to you when he was angry, the way he blamed you for everything, how easily he could walk away, how quickly he replaced love with hate, those weren't glitches in his character. Those were the parts of him he was always hiding. And the truth is, you didn't lose a good man. You let go of a version of him that never actually existed. So don't question your worth because of the way he treated you at the end. If anything, let that version be your closure, because the man who truly loved you would never have become the villain in your story. He would have been the one who fought to protect you, not destroy you when the story stopped going his way. Remember, the mask always falls. Believe what you saw when it did. Now, is this post about Christopher Millwater specifically? We don't know for sure, but we do know she posted about him on July 26th, 11 days later. On that date, Corso posted, "Whoever knows Christopher Millwater, he is a grave robber who TF steals a marker to a person's final resting place because he can't accept no for an answer or won't accept. I don't want to be with him. As you can see, psycho much? If anyone knows him better, talk some sense into him before it's too late." Now, under the post, there are photos of some type of memorial with a marker near a playset. It looks like a brick. There are also what appear to be messages from Christopher Millwater to Corso. One says, "I play for real. You should get it in time. Knocking on a set of doors, knocking on heaven's doors. Let's play a game. Just for pretend, could we play a game? You have the weekend. Another screen grab of a message says, got money for road trips all of the sudden. Keep rubbing it in. Keep trying to push me over the edge. Casey Lee Cowell. Casey Cowell appears to be a name used by Casey Corso. It's part of her Facebook page's URL. Christopher Millwater. He was loved by his family and friends, and they spoke very highly of him on social media. He loved the water and he loved to fish. Sadly, on November 8th, Christopher Millwater posted on Facebook, plenty of time to rest when I'm dead, so now it's a quick shower and gym time. Less than 48 hours later, after that post, Christopher Millwater was dead in the parking lot of the Stony Brook Yacht Club. The complaint charging Casey Corso with second-degree murder states the defendant in the parking lot of 21 Shore Road, Stony Brook, in the town of Brookhaven, Suffolk County, New York, on or about November 10th, 2025, approximately between 3:36 hours and 3:40 hours, with intent to cause the death of another person, Christopher Millwater, caused the death of Christopher Millwater in that the defendant, while acting in concert with Victor Payne Bianco, date of birth 8/21/1993, did stab Christopher Millwater multiple times with a sharp object, causing the death of Christopher Millwater. The defendant prevented Christopher Millwater from escaping by blocking his motor vehicle with her motor vehicle and thereafter crashing her motor vehicle into his motor vehicle. Suffolk County prosecutors said during Casey Corso's arraignment that Victor Payne Bianco stabbed Millwater in the heart and lungs after asking him about his past relationship with Corso. That's according to a report in the New York Post. Prosecutors added that Payne Bianco stabbed Christopher Millwater in the heart and lungs several times. Now, days before Christopher Millwater was murdered, he posted a video for a product he was advertising on Facebook. Here it is.
Hey guys, we just did the box opening with Shayla, and I'm on day 2. I didn't wash today, but we are going to put some of the hair thinning defense in. Let's give this a rep. My lovely assistant, Shayla. Guys, it's 1 dropper full. For my head, it's definitely going to be enough. It's used only on the scalp. So what we're going to do is we're going to just slowly pour it in. We're going to get it all over the scalp. Gentlemen, ladies, it's that simple.
So joining me to discuss this case is Dave Sarney. He's a retired NYPD detective, just across the river from Long Island. So Dave, your first thoughts about this case and the homicide, the murder of Christopher Millwater?
Thank you for having me. It's such an odd case. I mean, to get to the level of anger that must have been to commit this murder. And again, it's all speculation, and you're innocent until proven guilty. But the reality is, just the whole amount of circumstances is just very confusing because it doesn't seem like there's a real. I don't know where the hatred comes from, because usually when these type of incidents happen, there has to be, especially stabbings and shootings, and the amount of stab wounds. One time is usually a mistake, and then there's repeated stabbings. This is something that's serious. You're shocked at the fact that the violence toward it and the anger that was developed, and not the anger transferred not from just from the woman, but to the boyfriend. Now to do this is just it's mind-boggling when you look at these type of cases and don't see a real connection to reason as to why you would want someone dead like this.
It's confounding to me because obviously something was going on in the summer months. Something was happening. Casey Corso is posting these things on Facebook, which is really wild to me. That she's posting this stuff, and there's messages from Christopher Millwater, that we believe he sent to her or to this Victor. We're not 100% clear, but there's this allegation almost that he did something to a memorial site and it looks like it's near a playground, but he seems to be kind of like saying like leave me alone or whatever. So I'm very confused by what was actually happening between these two as their relationship appeared to end.
Yeah, because we don't get a lot of social media on what the relationship was. We see that as an anger, but there must have been some sort of intimate relationship of some sort. Somewhere along the line, there had to be some sort of relationship where you could get to that anger. And that's the thing. And then it was back and forth. And usually it's surprising. And I think that's why this case went the way it did, because they were able to find them relatively quickly, because there had to be some sort of connection that they had, either maybe text messages that they might have had back and forth that just developed this. But to see the online confrontation, it doesn't make, I mean, the social media confrontation, it doesn't make sense to create this type of incident to murder someone based on that. But we don't know what they were doing together at one point, because, that's the surprising part. You don't have anything socially media wise on that, but there had to be some sort of relationship to create that anger. And when she called him a grave robber, and you don't really understand as to why the grave robbing, what grave did he rob? And then her new boyfriend gets feisty about this, gets angry about him too. So I don't know what he could have done, what the victim could have done so much to create that, but you have it. And the good thing was they apprehended the people relatively quickly.
Yeah, it does seem like they apprehended them relatively quickly. It sounds like from everything we're hearing from Suffolk County Police that Victor and Casey went to North Carolina. And then Casey returns from North Carolina and they pick her up, they scoop her up on a Wednesday night, and then she appears in court on a Thursday. And then Victor, they've got him in custody in North Carolina, and they're going to bring him back and charge him with second-degree murder. I mean, second-degree murder, that's in New York, in New York State, that's an intentional murder. So there is no, I mean, it doesn't sound like they think that this was, at least the prosecutors don't believe this is like a self-defense case or anything like that.
No, because I guarantee you, and that's the thing. They come back, and anytime these confrontations take place, you look for injuries. They left the scene, and again, I'm going to tell you, Suffolk County is very big. The police department there is very quiet. They don't tell you anything, which is good, because you want to keep these type of cases quiet. You don't want to leak out information. But the information you have, I guarantee you, they probably went to the cell phone. They had everything. They went to cell sites. They went to all that part of it, so they were able to connect the connectivity to her, to him, and interviews with family and friends of Christopher probably also helped them lead to this instance with this girl, with Corso, which is just, it's still, it's amazing that they stabbed this guy repeatedly for some action he did, and it doesn't make sense to this. That's why it's an intent death cause death. They just kill him. They block him from leaving and they kill him.
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. And I kind of want to pull up the complaint, because the complaint details what they believed happened. And this makes me think potentially that they may have surveillance video of this confrontation. I mean, these days, Dave, there are cameras everywhere. You can't go anywhere. You can't walk up to somebody's front door without being on camera. So because they have all these details in the complaint, that I'm going to put up on the screen right now, it makes it sound like they know exactly what happened. So this complaint that I've got right up on the screen right now, it basically says that Victor Payne Bianco stabbed him with a sharp object, causing his death. And the defendant, Casey, she prevented him from escaping by blocking his vehicle in with her vehicle and crashing her vehicle into his vehicle. So those are some very specific details that the police are laying out in this complaint. So that leads me to believe they potentially have license plate reader data on this. They potentially have surveillance footage that shows this. I mean, am I on the right path here?
Yeah, I would definitely look at that. And is there any witnesses they have available? It comes down to is how did they know he was going to be there at that time? And that's what we always look at. As an investigator, you look at why now, why then. Could there have been an attempt to meet up or something like that? That's how they were able to meet, or did they know he was going to be there? So you're going to look at everything. You're going to go scour his information, the victim's information, do a victimology. You're going to go into his phone. You go up on his phone, look at his cell phone, any cell phone messages, anything, any phone calls that are made. You're going to look at between the post-event, you're not going to have that, but you're going to have it pre-event. You're going to look at the pre-event, what led up to that. And that's what they're looking to do. And I gather they have probably some video on that, video surveillance, which they probably have on that, alongside any witnesses they have. And, we only see a little bit of what Corso has on social media. How did they know they went, the North Carolina thing, they moved down there. So they had her phone. They probably were tracking her phone also. And cell site searches that you're doing in that area, what cell phones are on that area at the time. And those things, if they're on, we can find out that way too.
One thing that is very interesting to me is the fact that Christopher Millwater, he was a fisherman. I mean, the photograph on his obituary shows him holding a big fish. And from looking at his Facebook page, it looks like he often potentially went to the yacht club or went out to the water in the early morning hours. I mean, that's when a lot of these people who fish like to go out fishing. I guess that's when the fish are most active. If I'm wrong about that, fishermen, sorry, forgive me. But I'm just saying, like, maybe they were aware of that, aware of his habits, or potentially the allegation might be that they were following him, which is really scary. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, there is just a lot we don't know, but they either knew his patterns and knew his schedule. Maybe he was a creature of habit, or they were following him.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just that's why all this will come out as the case continues onward, because when you make the arrest, it's not just the arrest, but the investigation that follows, because no case ends with just the arrest. So you're gonna follow up with the investigation. So you're gonna hear more about this as it goes through, if it goes to trial at all, because sooner or later, once the prosecutor has all their details, they forward it to the defense attorney, and the defense attorney will decide whether or not to we'll keep on this case, we'll fight this case, we'll fight it at trial, or maybe we'll plea out. But it comes back to the same thing. It's like, what did he do that created such an anger that you would then want him dead? And you don't really see that right now. But the fact is, someone is murdered, and as cops are, we concern ourselves about the facts and the totality of circumstances. And it led to find out that Chris is murdered allegedly by Corso and the boyfriend.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really, really bizarre. And, the cops obviously are being tight lipped, but in court, the prosecutor said that Victor Painbianco stabbed Christopher in the heart and the lungs several times. I mean, that is a heinous, heinous, up close, personal type of crime, Dave. I mean, that takes some I don't know, it takes some chutzpah to carry out something like that. I just can't even imagine.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, and where did he get his anger from? I mean, he obviously transferred from the girl from Corso to him, and like to just go out there and person you probably never met, and I'm going to say this, I don't know if the boyfriend had any interaction with him other than maybe social media wise, but to that level of anger, to go in and block him from leaving, like your girl, the allegations are she's blocking him in. He gets out of the car and stabs him repeatedly and violent. I mean, there's no stabbing that's not violent, but this is a violent death. And it's tragic in the sense that this should have been avoided. All you got to do is stop talking, end it. The relationship's over, end it. And it's an over relationship. They're ended. And it was a continuance somewhere. And I'm not a psychologist or a psychoanalyst, but she harbored such anger toward Christopher for whatever malfeasance he is alleged to have done to her. To get to this level is just still, you know, there are people's lives that are crushed by this. You know, Christopher's family, even, I don't know who Corso's family is, but now they have to deal with this. Victor's family, if they have a family, if he has relationships, so many lives get damaged over whatever is believed to be there's nothing there that seems to be reason to kill somebody.
Well, and you know what, Dave, is so interesting to me too. These posts from July is where she's calling him a grave digger and all of this crazy stuff in July. I mean, that's months ago. We're now in November.
Yeah.
We're talking almost 4 months later.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's some time that has passed. I mean, we don't know if anything was going on behind the scenes, but it certainly sounds crazy to me.
Yeah, it just like I said, relationships end, however they are, friendships end, but they end and you walk away. She didn't want to walk away, and I don't know if Christopher egged it on by whatever if any interactions that he had with her that we don't know about, but she harbored such hatred for him for some reason that to do that doesn't make sense. People do things crimes of passion. This is a crime of anger. This is not a passion where you're a jilted lover or anything. She's called him a grave robber, and something along the line that drove her to this level to then create that hatred, that that rage hatred that she wanted him dead. And not only do I want this guy dead, I want to have my boyfriend do it. And that's just still, again, all allegations until this goes through. But this is what you got right now, and it doesn't. In the world of investigations, we investigate the case as it is, but when you look at the reasons as to why, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and the allegation that basically she blocked him in to prevent him from escaping, that almost makes it sound like he tried to escape, which is just really horrific and sad. I don't care how angry you are at a human being. Good God. The allegations here are horrific. Obviously, these people are innocent until proven guilty, but there is a lot of evidence on social media that it looks like they've created that could show some level of premeditation.
Definitely. Premeditation's. I mean, this is going on for July. So that's why what they're going to do now is you have them in custody. Obviously, they have attorneys. You're now still going to do the more workup on both of them, on Victor and her. And you're going to see other things. They're going to probably do search warrants on their residences, obviously, to continue on this investigation. It doesn't end with the arrest. That's why people have to understand we have probable cause to arrest, but when it comes to trial, we've got to prove that these people did this beyond a reasonable doubt. And right now, you're innocent to proven guilty in a court of law, so they have time to defend themselves, but the police also have time to improve this case to get to that level beyond a reasonable doubt.
No doubt. Well, we will keep a close eye on it. It's just a really terrible case, and a man is dead and shouldn't be. Thank you so much, Dave Sarney, for your time. Appreciate seeing you as always.
Yeah, thank you very much. Stay safe.
Now, a GoFundMe has been set up for Christopher Millwater's funeral expenses. It reads, "My name is Corrine Millwater. Those of you who know me realize that one of the most difficult things for me to do is humble myself. My family and I are in need at this time. We have suffered a lot of loss over the past few years, this loss being the greatest. My brother, Christopher Michael Millwater, was violently murdered on November 10th, 2025. Those of you who know him know that he showed up for anyone in need. At this time, my family is in need of donations solely to cover the costs of funeral expenses. We understand that not all are able to donate, but would appreciate that you share and also pray for our family that justice is served." Casey Corso is in the Suffolk County Jail, and Victor Pain-Bianco is in custody in North Carolina, and he will be returned to New York sometime soon. And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.